From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. The U.S. is highlighting its role in helping Israel thwart Iran's aerial attack on the weekend, and President Joe Biden yesterday convened a video meeting of leaders of Canada and the other group of 7 leaders in a bid to prevent a wider regional escalation and to coordinate a global rebuke of Tehran. The U.S. assisted Israel in shooting down more than 320 drones and missiles fired by Iran. Israeli authorities said 99% of the inbound weapons were intercepted without causing any significant damage. The rumbles and tremors rattling Leah Appel's Jerusalem apartment building jolted her from sleep around 1:45 a.m. Sunday. Unbeknownst to her at the time, Iran had just unleashed that barrage of drones and missiles. Appel, a Montreal native who moved to Israel with her husband after Hamas's October attack on that country, says Iran's weekend offensive was unlike anything she'd ever experienced in Canada.
And it felt like 1,000-ton weights had been dropped in the apartment above our apartment. And our whole room was shaking. And I said to him, Moshe, what is that? And he opened the window and there was just fire in the sky. The sky lit up with their missiles and our anti-missile missiles.
The offensive came less than 2 weeks after an airstrike blamed on Israel destroyed Iran's consulate in Syria and killed 2 Iranian generals. A new study has found opioids were behind a quarter of deaths among people in their 20s and 30s in 2021. Researchers from the University of Toronto say the annual number of opioid-related deaths doubled in Canada between 2019 and 21 to 6,200. Of particular note, the 5-fold rise in fatal overdoses among 30-year-olds in Manitoba. Researchers note the surge coincided with pandemic public health measures that reduced access to harm reduction programs. Studies published in today's Canadian Medical Association journal. The first installment of this year's Canada Carbon Rebate will be delivered to some Canadians today, as long as they filed their 2023 taxes by March 15th. Canadians living in the Prairie provinces, Ontario, and all 4 Atlantic provinces will receive the first of 4 installments today, while those who filed their taxes after March 15th will see their first installment in mid-May or later. The rebates are meant to offset what people pay in carbon pricing when they buy fuel. And the hush money trial of former U.S. President Donald Trump begins today with jury selection. Here's reporter Aaron Katersky.
Trump has complained too many potential jurors have been exposed to negative stories about him.
It's very unfair that I'm having a trial there.
He sought to postpone the trial so it can be moved out of Manhattan. The judge refused, though, saying pre-trial publicity was at least in part of his own doing.
Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records as part of an alleged effort to keep salacious stories about his sex life from emerging during his 2016 presidential campaign. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Canadians are on top of a couple of international sports. Danielle Serdachny's power play goal at 5:16 of overtime lifted Canada to a 6-5 victory over the U.S. in Sunday night's gold medal final at the Women's World Hockey Championship in Utica, New York. Canada earned some revenge for last year's loss in the gold medal game to the U.S. And in curling, Canada's Brad Gougeau has won the Princess Auto Players Championship in Toronto. The St. John's, Newfoundland native beat top-ranked Joel Returnez of Italy 7-6 for the win. Hockey action, Nazem Kadri scored twice in the third period as Calgary rallied to beat Arizona 6-5. Scottie Scheffler is the Masters champion for the second time in 3 years. The Toronto Blue Jays won another series at home, taking 2 of 3 from the Colorado Rockies with Sunday's 5-0 shutout. The 8-8 Blue Jays open a 3-game series tonight against the visiting New York Yankees. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.